All right, again, my name is Ekakibe Yukiko-sama. I am the social media officer for the Kingdom of Atenvelt, which is over the state of Arizona in the United States. I love social media. I am definitely that, what generation am I? I'm that millennial who uses social media to communicate, to find things, to share information. I love social media so much that I thoroughly enjoy my officer position as social media officer. For the sake of today's class, I will only be talking about Facebook because that is the main social media platform that the SEA uses, that we use here in Atenveld to share information, to create events, to invite people to events, all that fun stuff. So I am primarily going to be talking about Facebook. What does a social media officer do when it comes to Facebook? And the biggest thing that social media officers do is make sure everyone's being safe and following the rules online. For example, if you were keeping track with the Facebook event for the Known World Shadowlane Symposium, and you were looking at the comments earlier, you would have seen a ridiculous amount of spam bots who are trying to lead people to another website for this event. And as soon as we found out, we went in there, deleted all the comments, had to change the settings to the Facebook event. But that's kind of the number one thing that we do is we make sure everyone's being safe on social media. We get rid of the spam bots and the spammers. Sometimes if you've ever watched a social media discussion and you see it's getting a little heated and maybe the comments are not going in such a great direction, we jump in there and kind of diffuse the situation there. So that's what we do on social media. In addition, we create posts, we create Facebook events, and we try to share as much information as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I am going to be focusing on the Facebook account for the Kingdom of Atenveld because I have some pretty interesting questions that I have for you guys in the hopes of talking about some of the biggest myths of social media, especially Facebook. All right, so here I'm on a Facebook account for Atenveld. And I am going to head into our group. Now, can anyone tell me in the chat, what is the biggest difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook group? I'll give you guys a second to throw it into the chat. What is the biggest difference between a page and a group? All right, anyone can post on a group. Page is usually just for admins. That's absolutely right. Here in the group, anyone can come in here and create a post who is a member of the group. And the page is just usually for admins. That's right. Admins go to the page, create posts, put out announcements, create Facebook events. What else? What else is the biggest difference between a page and a group? And the answer I'm looking for is being shared on my screen, just as a hint. Can anyone spot the biggest difference between a page and a group? And I am showing it. All right, Jen says you must be allowed to join the group. Yeah, you definitely have to click join and get in here. And then Sarah has it. Pages tend to be more publicly viewable. That's right. So here on the group, you'll see this is a private group. You have to click join in order to get in here. And that is the biggest difference. A group is private. You have to join it. Now, this is what I love about groups when people join. Let me see it. If I get in, I want to show you guys the questions for our group. If I can remember where the settings are. Show me the questions. Join, discussions. I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. I was so prepared, and then I go in here and I'm like, oh, where was that again? Join is pre-approved. Oh, membership questions. Oh my goodness. There we go. This is the one I was looking for. Question number 2, how long have you been participating in the SEA? I get so excited when I see the totally new, because as a social media officer, whether I'm managing the Kingdom page or a baronial page, every time I see the totally new, I make a note of that and I contact the Kingdom Chatelaine and I'm like, guess what? There's a totally new person who has come across our Facebook group. And not only will I let the Chatelaine know, just send them a quick message and maybe a screenshot of the new person, but one of the things that Facebook allows us to do is if I go back into the group, I will get little notifications that say, hey, let's create a post welcoming all of the new people. I love when that notification comes up every week. After a week, it usually pops up that says, hey, let's welcome everyone. And I can create one post. It tags everyone who joined the group that week. And it is another way for the group as a whole to welcome everyone who is new. Now, people who join the group, not necessarily new to the SEA, they're joining from all over the known world. So that is why I pay particular attention to the totally new question. And if there's any other social media officers in here, if you haven't done so already, when you're creating the questions for your groups, your Facebook groups, make sure you put that in there. How long have you been a member of the SEA? Because that really, really helps us in connecting people who have just found us on the interwebs and connecting them with the Chatelaine. So that's one of the things as a social media officer I get so excited about every time I see that. So going more into groups and pages, this is probably the biggest part of my conversation today that I am excited about. I'm going to go back to the Atenvelt page. And this is one of the things that you can definitely join me in doing. Have you guys ever heard, or has it ever been discussed that, social media, not everyone uses it, not everyone has a Facebook account or an Instagram or a TikTok, things like that. And we often say, that's why we have our websites. Atenvelt has a website. Every kingdom has a website. We make sure that all the same information that we're putting on social media is also on the website for everyone who doesn't have a social media account. But did you know that you can check out everything on a Facebook page without having an account? Have you guys ever tried that before? Or trying to, you're like trying to look at something really fast on your phone and you're using an internet browser instead of the app. I want to see in the chat if anyone has tried to look at something on Facebook without being logged in. I'm going to stop share for a second because I'm going to open up another internet browser and show you guys what this looks like when we're not signed into Facebook. Gonna go open, let's see, what do I not use? I do not use Microsoft Edge for anything. So I want you guys to think about that. What happens when you're not logged into Facebook and you try to go to your Kingdoms page or your Baronial's Facebook page? All right. I have Microsoft Edge open because I never use it for anything. I'm here in Google and I'm going to search Kingdom of Atenveld Facebook. So it's the first option here. Make sure that's it. So when I click on it, I'm not going to sign in. So it's asking me to log in. It's asking me to sign in. Oh, sorry. I'm in the group. Not going to get into the group. Nope, I just want to get straight into it. Do I have the language different? I might have to go through another way. Let me see if I can get through here. Ooh, nope, it's not letting me through. I thought this was gonna be quick. I think I'm gonna write it the long way. Facebook.com/Atenveld. Oh, it's not gonna let me do it on Edge. Oh, wait, did you finally go? No, it logged me in. That's what I was trying to avoid. All right. Let me try this one more time. Log out. No, I don't want to log in. I want to view it as itself. See, here I was so excited to show you guys. Yes, you can access Facebook pages without being logged in. And here I can't even demonstrate it on the computer. Let's try one more. Firefox. Let's see. Microsoft Edge. Let's do this other one. Atenveld. And we're going to go to, not that one. So I can get to the group. That's not going to let me do it. I'm so sorry, guys. I was really, really excited. I know I can do it on my phone, but of course I can't share that in a Zoom. Anyways, I'm just going to continue on. Facebook pages is public information. I know on my phone, if I am in a normal internet browser, I can go to Google, I can search up the Kingdom of Atenveld, and most of the time on my phone, I can look at the majority of things on Facebook without having to be logged in, as long as it's a public page. Now, granted, I'm not going to be able to see anything. I'll be able to see posts, and I'll be able to see events, but you won't be able to see the description of the event. So sometimes when you're wanting to share information that's on Facebook, to someone who doesn't have a Facebook account. You can still send them a link as long as it's public and they'll be able to see the majority of information, but of course not everything. So as a social media officer, I try when I'm discussing social media, I try to explain the biggest difference between the group and the page. So let me talk more about from a recruiting, from a retention, from a chatelaine perspective, how should we then be interacting with social media, especially on the page? So let me go back into the kingdom since I wasn't able to show the really cool thing about Facebook and not being logged in. So just looking at the main page, have you guys ever ran into that situation where something's been posted on the kingdom page and you're like, why didn't I see that until days later? Have you guys ever ran into that situation? Like, why am I not seeing stuff on Facebook? Why is it not popping up and showing me that? Got a yep from Sarah. Anyone else run into that? You're like, why am I not seeing this? So I'm going to show you a quick way. Yeah, blame the algorithm. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about, algorithm. So if you are wanting to see more of something on social media, there's two things that can happen. From my standpoint, from my viewpoint as a social media officer, if I'm getting a lot of feedback from members, they're like, I'm just not seeing your stuff. That tells me that I need to schedule more content, because the more active this page is, the more people are going to see it. So from my standpoint, I need to be scheduling more things. And when I create posts, I always include some sort of question so that the populace can interact with it. Sometimes posts get a couple of likes or comments. Other times posts get like 50 comments because it was just a really good engagement question. There was one time where I asked the populace if money and time were not an issue, what A&S project would you want to tackle? And I didn't expect such a response, but like everyone responded. So from my point of view as a social media officer, making sure I'm creating posts and that they have engagement, encouraging the populace to engage. Because when the populace engages, whether it's liking or commenting, the algorithm of Facebook is going to be like, oh, you like this stuff. You want to see more of it. So from an individual standpoint, if I'm like, why am I never seeing this? Why am I seeing this like a day later? Why is Facebook showing me stuff so late? That tells me from an algorithm point of view, I need to go on to my Kingdoms page. I need to go in and like everything. So I'm telling Facebook, hey, I want to see more of this. So that is my suggestion. Anytime, whether it's SCA or anything else that you follow on Facebook, if you're like, man, I want to see this sooner, go to that page and interact with it like a crazy person, like a stalker. No, I'm kidding. But interact with it. So you're telling Facebook, yes, I really want to see it. So besides that of being up to date with all the information, this is the number one thing I tell everyone. When you are wanting to share the SEA with other people, or you're thinking as a chatelaine, how do I make it really easy to use social media and, the events coming up, whether it's a fighter practice or another baronial get together, maybe something small in your area, and someone would be really interested in it, find the Facebook event for that activity. So here we have all of the kingdom's events that you can go into. I'm just going to pick a random event. And here you can invite people. Let me jump into a different perspective because this will be more of your guys' perspective. When we go into a Facebook event, we have the option to click going or interested. And did you guys know if you're on the phone on the app with Facebook and you click going, it's actually your phone is going to ask you if you want to add it to the calendar in your phone, which is a really great way of remembering when an event is coming up. And when you do that and you go back into the event in your phone, it will actually have the link back to this Facebook event, because this is where we're going to try to include, updated information about an event on social media. So when you click going or interested, you can get that calendar event. You'll then get notifications about that event, all sorts of wonderful things. But you can also invite people. So I can go here, I can invite all of these people I've already invited, because as soon as I create an event, I'm inviting people to it. You can also get a link. So if you're a chatelaine and you are Facebook messaging someone new and you're like, hey, I really want you to come to this event. I think you'll have a lot of fun. You'll be able to meet people and ask all these questions in person. You can actually get that link and send it out to them. You can share it to a group. You can share it to a friend's profile. All these wonderful things. So this is a way that a social media officer reaches out to new people. So again, it goes back to, I see someone has requested to join the group. They're totally new. I'm not only going to refer them to the chatelaine, but I'm probably going to send them a message and be like, hey, I see you're totally new. You're probably wondering what is like the best first event to go to. I really want to invite you to our fighter practice, because in our barony, our fighter practice is kind of like also our social get together. So everyone is normally there, whether they're fighting or just socializing and doing crafty things. So it's like the perfect event to invite people to. So I think that's the biggest thing that I wanted to share with everyone, that as a social media officer, I am always mindful of new people, how to share information, how to keep everyone safe. And I just want everyone to know that your kingdom probably has a kingdom page and a kingdom group. Just know that the page is public. I could probably send this URL to anyone, facebook.com/Atenville. That way they can see the page, see the events coming up. And then the group is where everyone can post, everyone can share information. But sometimes in the group, do you ever see something and you're like, where did that comment go? Where did that post go? Things like that. Just know in the group you can also search information. Please share the information about the link again. Sarah, if you can be a little bit more specific on what link. Oh, for events. Okay, that's probably what event link. So let me go back into an event. Yeah. So here, I'm actually going to go to this arrow. It's an arrow that is pointing to the right. And this is our share button. And I can get the link here. Now, granted, guys, I'm on the computer. We all know that Facebook looks a little different on the computer than it does on the app. I recently found out that the app looks different on Android versus iPhone. My husband has an iPhone, and I was helping him look for something in our group. And I'm like, this is totally different. So it was really interesting. So that's how you share an event. So this is what I try to show all of our chatelaines, whether it's the Kingdom chatelaine or a baronial chatelaine. Hey, here's the event. This can get shared out. This is public. So let's see, right here, I'm going to highlight this event is public. Also, SEA events are public. Anyone on or off Facebook could essentially go to Google and search up this event. And they'll be able to find it. They might not be able to get all of the description details, but they'll at least be able to find the banner information. So the date, the name, and the place. Can individuals comment on public page or only on the private page? So when it comes to comments, anyone can comment. So let's go back to the Kingdom of Atenvelt page. So this is public. Anyone can come down into the comments and post a comment. Same thing with the group. Posting is different from commenting. That's right. So this is a post I made earlier letting everyone know, hey, the Chatelaine Symposium is happening. You know, click here to go to it. Anyone can comment on this. But only the admins can post. So I would have to switch back to the Kingdom page in order to make a post. If we go into our Kingdom group, so this is a group different from the page, anyone can post here. I know, isn't that super confusing? And it is something that I have found out. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show. So I'll stop share for a second. That's like the biggest thing I love teaching everyone is that there is a difference between the page and the group. And we can do different things in both of them. Like everyone can comment, but the page is public. It's like a website. But as you guys saw in my demonstration, I was having a hard time getting to it without signing in. But I know I can do it on my phone, so I'll have to prove that again in the future. But in a group, you have to have an account. You have to join the group. You have to get approved into the group. Sorry, my cat's jumping around my desk. You got to get approved into the group, and then you can comment. You can share stuff into the group. You can search stuff into the group, and the group is private. So when a social media officer creates a SEA event, it has to be created from the page so that everyone can see it. Because if we created an event in the private group, only the people in that group would be able to see it. We ran into that issue once. It was really, really interesting. So that is my presentation, the biggest thing between a group and a page, and how as social media officer, I work with the Chatelaines. Anytime I see someone new, they're clicking on brand new when they try to join the group, and how we can get into Facebook events and share those out to people who might be interested in them.